Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere, appreciate it. Today we're continuing on with the latest talk of the Dylan Rounds case, as well reflecting back on Dylan's birthday and past events, memories, which have been told by some key individuals on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, a Facebook page which is all publicly viewable, just wanted to let you know, as well as the odd response by Candice Cooley. See where things are at, but more so look back and see if there's any additional stories we've never heard of before, following that theme and that pattern of most recent time, covering information which has never been talked about, heard about, seen before. And whilst you do have other degens and impetuous people out there and whingy whiners who, to be honest, do they really know what they're doing? I think they're in a world of their own. We're continuing the trend and patterns of covering stuff, analysing it, making sense of it, and keeping things under control, which other humans out there have failed to do over and over again. Okay? So be sure to share your thoughts, opinions, reactions into the live chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. As for last night's video, a link will be down below in the pinned comment section for you to catch up on the latest talk, okay? As well as some additional links if you wish to visit there. Shout out to the people last night though. Specifically and more focused, shout out to the individuals that were able to focus on the case last night. We did get some degenerates in the chat and some whiny people, but it is what it is, and it reduced in levels and heat as the length of the video went on. Obviously, applying yesterday and all the other times, you will always get people watching in the background, lurking in the darkness for one of two reasons. One, they're unable to reveal themselves because they don't want to get attacked or hurt, which is understandable. Some are still imprisoned elsewhere, I get that. And then the second reason, got to make sure the finger's the right way, oops. The second reason is to do the fact that you will have those whingy whiners who have an obsession with me. Okay, it seems to be males, which is very unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is, okay? So whilst the rats are scuttling about, we continue with the Dylan Rounds case, just like what we've been doing all this time. 350 plus videos covered, right? What I do want to highlight before we go any further, just as a small observation around myself, my channel, so people watching are, understanding of the methods, the process, and this can involve you, Indiana, okay? So for the last few days, if you to exclude yesterday, the days before that, it was very heavy, right? Quite intense with all this information we've never heard or seen before to that depth. Even Bob Farrell, who claimed to know it all previously, was left somewhat speechless last night. So there you go. That's the impact it has. And that's what my channel provides, unlike others out there. So because of that, it was very focused, it was very controlled, but also natural at the same time. A lot to take in here, of course, but you get the idea, right? It was quite focused and it was on Dylan Rounds specifically. Not to exclude all the videos in the past, the other 340 plus, they've been focused as well. But if you're talking about being locked on, no pissing about, demonstrated that, okay, recently. As for last night's video, the reason why that was covered was because at that moment in time, there wasn't other additional very important stuff to cover to the same level and intensity as the days beforehand, okay? So what I covered last night, I was going to cover days before, but I wasn't able to because I felt as if the other previous stuff was more important and I didn't want that to get clouded. I didn't want it to get tarnished. I didn't want disruption to that extent. So that's why I pushed it back and delayed the video. Hopefully people understand that. As for last night, it was expected for levels of cancer to appear. It was expected that there could be some kind of disruption somewhere, okay? But it is what it is. As for tonight, more so when we do get into the main part of this video, it will be focused once again, so don't worry. Just as another highlight, Indiana, when you questioned and said, should you be covering this? Should you be bringing this back up? Just move on. The reality is, I have analysed humans for over 9 plus years, okay? I've seen the mentality of the forget, forgive, and move on mentality, which basically puts you in the same spot every other time when something bad happens. You get slapped in the face. Oh, I forgive you. I forgive you. I'll forget. We'll move on. Oh, I forgive you. I forgive you. I'll forget. I'll move on. I forgive you. I really do forgive you. Let's just forget things and move on. That's what happens, okay? With those real slaps, of course, you probably can sit slightly there. So that's what the reality is. If you just let it happen, whatever it might be, intense levels or not so important stuff on YouTube, elsewhere, on other platforms, or in real life, you bend over backwards, you forgive them, you forget the situation, you move on. What happens? It happens all again. The reality is adaptation is necessary at times. You can move on, but you don't have to forgive, okay? You can try to forget, but even that is detrimental at times. If you forget, then you forget lessons learned. If you forget, you aren't prepared for the next time it happens, okay? So adaptation is required in some way or another, and memory of what happened back then with certain people, whatever action it is, can be used in the future as a fuel for you, whatever you do, or just as, I guess, like awareness to be more alert for the future, okay? So the forget, forgive mentality is weak. That's the reality. Now, as for bringing up past examples, the reality why one does that is to penetrate through people's thick bones, okay? There are some humans out there with time, the darkness, the impetuous, the whiniest type people who just don't understand it. And even after you tell them 2 to 3 times, it still doesn't get through there. As we know, there's a lot of delusional people out there. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So you need to use extreme examples. If you got to go dark, you have to go dark with thought to penetrate here. It's the only way. I've extensively experienced it in the past. It worked. Everything I do right here, right now, and what I have been doing for the last year, the methods, the adaptation, the predictions, the observations, every single word, sentence, every single structure and foundation has been extensively done a year or 2 ago when I was covering other cases. When I say it's under control, it is under control, okay? What's the face like? To be honest, it's a bit disappointing now. It could be a bit more red. I probably could continue doing it, but then again, YouTube aren't going to be too pleased. But you know what? They say the YouTube, hit the big play button, the YouTube, it's a red logo. Well, there you go. My face is imprinted on the logo, okay? But yeah, I think in summary, most recently, what's happened is we've seen the Noah's Ark effect taking place, right? We've seen the rat infestation disturbed at times. The latest observation is basically the cancerous humans and the freeloaders have pissed off elsewhere now. Good. You will at times get people scuttling back on their knees, but that's just the obsessions kicking in with them, okay? So the cancerous freeloaders, which have been present over time on this channel, and some of which have been around for a bit, cancerous freeloaders have pissed off now, okay? But you know what hasn't pissed off? Is one's focus on the case. Still here, still standing. My methods, my styles, must be somewhat efficient and effective for me to still be here, okay? Simple as. Now, we put everything aside. Has the face got a bit ready? Yes, finally, there you go. A little bit more. I was using the end of my finger about there. So, do you know if I press it hard, will it? Yeah, I can. That's good. Positive, okay, because it just shows that it was demonstrated on the spot. So this is what I mean. You've got to use these examples, you've got to use these actions, and eventually people understand. I think what some humans do is, underestimate the channel, underestimate the videos, because people don't always watch back the past videos. Some humans assume that I'm a true crime channel. I'm not a true crime channel. I'm a hybrid. You look back at my playlist, you look in the about section of the videos I cover, you know exactly why I'm a hybrid, okay? People need to look back for context if you fail to understand, okay? So, where do we begin with the Dylan Rounds case at this moment in time? Well, we can look back at the comment section of last night's video. Link down below if you want to watch the video later. Check the comments, see if anything needs to be answered, see if there's any questions of interest, any additional information, whether it be by Corey or other people, because that's what we need to acknowledge. Whilst Corey has shown up in most recent of time, the other people present leaving their comments are just as important as Corey's comments. Balance. Simple as. So that's what we'll do first. It'll allow people to join on in and to catch up, okay? Anything else? Well, I guess once we've covered that, then we can move on to the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, okay? And then from there, we've got about 4 or 5 different posts to get through. Got a bit of interesting information and reflection on Dylan Rounds. No harm in doing that. And then if we need to get to a conclusion, we can do so. So we've got a range of different material to get through. Feel free to stick around and feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on the case as well. Talk about a range of other stuff, okay? So without further ado, let's head on over to the YouTube comments. So I'm just going to adjust the comments to the newest. Start from the bottom. First of all, we've got Bella Song. Now, is that anything to do with Bella V? I'm not too sure. Bella Song, well, it's spelled different to Bella Song butterfly knife. That's different. But anyway, comment here. Remembering Dylan today, which was yesterday, on what would have been his 21st birthday. So it ties on with the video of today, what we're looking at, of course. Raven Gypsy, hi all, just got off work. Hi there. We covered Jill's comment yesterday. Okay, you're so damn ungrateful. I'm going to puke. Won't follow you after this. Hope your life sucks. Well, there you go. Unfortunately, I don't have a sick bucket, so you better not vomit on the floor because you're cleaning that up. But it wouldn't surprise me if people like this return back on their hands and knees, because when they say they're leaving, they never follow through with it. We got Bob Farrell here. Wow, I learned a lot of things in the past couple of days from Corey. Thank you, Corey. As well, Bob, you're welcome, because I covered it and further analysed it. The comments. Oh yeah, from Corey and her comments. It's Bay. Glad to see you here, holding our thoughts and critical words by keeping an open mind. We learn new things every day. Holding our thoughts and critical words. We learn new things every day, but what you also receive is a place of focus, a place of, at times relaxation, unlike other areas. Yeah. Okay. The other thing to acknowledge, and it's a very important point, okay? You could upload a video on the Dylan Rounds case. It gets about 800 views out of nowhere. 800 people watch that video, whatever it's about. And then afterwards, someone comes in like Corey, leaves her comments. How many of the 800 people that already watched that video are going to come back to that video they've already watched and then look at the new comments? Hardly anyone. Maybe about 2 to 5 people. Normally, when people have watched a video, they won't come back, okay? So that is why I make it a focused, dedicated thing to look back and cover and highlight and reshare comments from that video and bring them into light in the next video. So the video yesterday and the video before that, the only reason why more people know of that information now from Corey is because I reshared it into the next video, so then people could catch up on the comments, if that makes sense. There's a very specific order to it. I would know because I've covered the Kenny Veach case for over 2 years and it followed the same methods there at times. Anyway, Tom Evans. It's Snowville, Utah. That's near the Idaho border and Ogden, Utah, 45 minutes north of Salt Lake City. So I guess that's just Tom responding back to a question by Indiana, whatever that was to do with. Cleo, I learned so much today. Great work. Thank you. Appreciate that, Cleo. Good individual being present. Cleo, war like Raf, you work kind of the same under stress. What do you think? I mean, for most part of it, I haven't been working under stress. I've not got to that point when the survival instincts kick on in. Who knows what happens there? Did it happen during the Kenny Veach days? May have done. I mean, you get those like the afterburners booster effect where if it's like last minute and you got to cover a video or you're up against the deadline, you know, you kind of rushing there, maybe that could be counted, but still it's under control even when things are mostly going downhill. I mean, as well, even when things are going downhill and even if it's kind of under control or not under control, it's like, well, there's no choice but to keep on going if you want to try and fix the problem sometimes. Weezer, recently present, which is good to see. Their comment, what does Weezer say? When Dylan Rounds went missing, my very first thoughts were 5 people. Robert Aviles, Chase Venstra, Don Hatley, Jim Brenner, and Kevin. Who's Kevin? Kevin Bacon? I don't know. Let me know who Kevin is down below, Weezer. Never heard of that guy's name before. Weezer goes on to say, I'm starting to think that once again, that 5 people being involved. Interesting. I look back at their suspicious behaviour after Dylan disappeared and remember why I chose those 5 individuals. I saw Robert Aviles come into Montello at a high rate of speed the day Dylan disappeared. He was driving the black Subaru. This was approximately 3:30 p.m. Montello time, 4:30 p.m. Lucin time. Interesting. He came from the Lucin direction and that time aligns with the last ping at the pond. Looking at drive time. After Dylan disappeared and until Robert was arrested, the black car would go out in the desert around Montello at all hours of the day and night. At night, the headlights weren't used. Sneaky. I also knew that Chase and Robert were usually together most of the time up to no good. Okay. I thought of Don Hatley because on June the 3rd, he was at the Cowboy Bar being a social butterfly. Oh yeah, that one. Sitting at a table and chatting with people that had no idea who he was. Weezer, they were your friends, correct? Totally out of character for him. I chose Jim Brenner because not only did he live at the grain shed, but I have also seen him snap. I saw him with a gun pointed at Robert Aviles. I also know he attacked the guy at the Montello store. I picked Kevin because of change of behaviour. He has a violent background, has been to prison a few times. He rarely came to Montello, and when Dylan disappeared, he started coming through Montello almost every day. Again, my original thought was that Dylan was being held somewhere based on the behaviours of those 5. I think that there is way more to this case than any of us realise, hoping that there are answers soon. I mean, there's a lot to go over there. Weezer, it's good of you to share your thoughts. I'm interested to why you've only mentioned some of this now, because I've never heard of it before, even though you have been present in the past. Weezer, let me know, was there a catalyst recently which then made you decide to open up about this additional information? I know you referred in the past to Don, if I'm correct in saying, we just scroll back up just to make sure. Yeah, Don, June 3rd, Cowboy Bar, being a social butterfly, out of the ordinary because he normally wouldn't be that talkative. I do remember you mentioning that Weezer. But as for the stuff about Kevin, never heard of before. The bit about Robert, not really heard of before, etc. Just let me know, Weezer, why now and not earlier? Is it because it's more appropriate to talk about now? Is it because, like you said, you've only just started thinking about it once again? Just feel free to elaborate and give your backstory as to why this comment has just appeared now, okay? You see, the thing is, with the Dylan Rounds case, it could be quite deep and there might be more to it, but the only way to know more to it is to actually hear what's being said. And if that's being delayed or drip-fed, there's not much one can do at a moment in time, right? You just do what you can with the material you have. Responses, let's see. Did we look at everything? Yeah. Tom. Originally, I thought that Dylan left the property alive. Now I'm not sure. I think that Don may be the one to break and tell us what happened. I don't understand why Candice Cooley has been so easy on this group of guys. And Justin talks about Don like he's the guilty party. In a couple of weeks, we will get to see the discovery documents. That should help us understand more of what happened. See, this is the thing. Okay, Candice Cooley is locked on to Brenner as being the responsible person. Candice Cooley is excusing Chase Venstra right from the start, right? Not really mentioned Robert Aviles, not really mentioned Kurt Wadsworth either, or Don. You look at Justin only calling out Brenner and Don, and really nobody else, nor defending Brenner or Don, as some people claim online. That's just how it seems to be so far. Corey says, you are more correct in your thinking than you realise. So Corey agrees with Weezer's comment, but once again, there are possible contradictions made. The fact that Weezer is saying that I do feel the likes of Brenner, James Brenner, is involved in some way or another, like the other guys, because of their criminal backstory, their criminal history of involved stuff. The likes of Jim pointing a gun at, who was it? Robert? Something like that. Where's it on here? Just give me a second. Where you said you saw the gun being pointed at somebody. I chose Jim. Yeah, okay, here we go. So basically, Corey agrees with Weezer's comment and says, you are more right than you realise. And yet Corey previously said that Brenner had no part in it, yet Weezer is saying Brenner did have a part in it because of his past criminal history. Yet Corey previously said that because of Brenner's past criminal history, it's got no correlation to what Brenner did to Dylan because Brenner did nothing to Dylan. But why is Corey now agreeing with Weezer, who's calling out Brenner as being responsible, when Corey said Brenner's not responsible? That's contradictions upon contradictions. You see, it's a bit problematic. Let's just be right. Anything else? Weezer saying that she's... hold on a minute. Violent background, okay. Yeah, Grainshed, but I have also seen him snap. So Weezer herself has seen Brenner snap. Weezer has seen Brenner pointing a gun at Robert. So if Corey has quite a bit of knowledge in the case, more than what anyone else believes, then why is Corey agreeing with Weezer's comments here about Brenner when Corey previously said Brenner doesn't snap? What? Corey, you've, being realistic, you've contradicted yourself 2 to 3 times now. That is a bit problematic, okay? Corey at first saying Brenner didn't play any part, but now agreeing with Weezer's comment that he did. Corey previously saying that Brenner never snapped, but agreeing with Weezer's comment about snapping. Yeah. And then Corey's past comment about the grain truck and the other truck not being taken in by police, no DNA evidence upon it. And then Corey then later saying that DNA most likely would have been found on Brenner in the truck. It's one thing then the other. And when considering talking about misinformation, disinformation, etc., and whilst we're seeing it with Candice Cooley, I think it's very evident that we're seeing it online as well at any point, any moment. Switching and changing of information in such an erratic, contradictory way is not useful nor helpful. Okay? Mistakes can be made, most definitely, but frequent mistakes can lead to further questioning. Okay? As said, although it's not literally like a forum, like Autism Without Limits says, my memory is what holds quite a lot of this together. Okay? I'm able to remember people's past actions, sayings, words, sometimes quotes, etc. And it's just simply because in my life, I've come across so many hypocrites and people that contradict themselves, etc. So much self-mental torturing of trying to understand people and why they are the way they are with me in the past, to the point now where it's like, I don't think as much now, and it's just embedded in my mind. If humans do say that I'm intelligent, I appreciate that. It's good of them to say that. When humans say, wow, you know so much, or you're very knowledgeable on all kinds of things in life, that's only because of extreme suffering, and that is it. Okay? Is it advised to go through that? No. As simple as it is what it is. Anyway, do we have any other comments to acknowledge? No. Let's just look back briefly at Weezer. So Weezer, I'll probably reply back to you in a message, comment or something. Okay, be on the lookout for that, Weezer. Maybe we might need to do a map analysis, a visual storytelling on the matter. Okay? So anything here I need to reread to understand. Dylan disappeared. I remember why I chose. Okay. Right, so Robert Aviles, speeding at a high rate through Montello the day Dylan disappeared. And that was approximately 3:30 p.m. But speaking of Lucerne time, 4:30 p.m. Right. So this obviously would have been significantly after the final phone ping of Dylan, which was 2:51 p.m. And also after the 3 p.m. of the Jubilee truck leaving the grain shed property. Okay? So from 2:51 to 4:30, few hours have passed by, right? You're saying that Robert came from the Lucerne direction. And that time aligns with the last ping at the pond. Hold on. Weezer, what's going on here? At least from what I've known of all this time within the case, it was 2:51 p.m. That's what Candice Cooley said. Wait. Don't jump in. And it's what Justin Rounds has said. Several occasions, 2:51 p.m. So for you, Weezer, to say around 3:30 p.m. Montello time, the equivalent 4:30 p.m. Lucerne time, ties in line with the timestamp of Dylan's last phone ping at 4:30 p.m. That's not the case. It was 2:51 p.m., the final phone ping at the pond area. Unless Weezer, you know more, or an alternative story, feel free to elaborate down below. Okay? The only thing I will acknowledge, and it was like based from what Indiana once knew of, at least from what she heard of in the past, maybe the timestamp of 4:30 p.m. came into discussions in the early days of the case. That's the impression we were under of the final phone ping. But then later on, as months passed by, it was then regarded as 2:51 p.m. So it did change with time. but it's not changed since. So Weezer, let me know about that. If the timestamp you give is truly correct and how it was worded in the past correct, then I can understand why you can associate Robert Aviles with this, okay? But with the 2:51 p.m. timestamp I've been aware of for quite some time now, if that was true, then I don't think it does link to Robert Aviles because it's hours apart, okay? Anything else? Hours of the day at night. Do you know what I will say, Weezer? You said it was coming from the Lucin area later on in the day, past lunch time. Do you think there's a possibility that because earlier on in the day, depending how Corey worded her comments, because I said they can be confusing, earlier on in the day, the 28th, supposedly Robert Aviles giving Chase Venstra a lift to Flying J's Snowville. In that direction, to get there from Montello to Snowville, you got to pass through Lucin. Then, if you're coming back after dumping Chase Venstra off in Snowville or later on in the day, like Clinton at the KFC, could Robert Aviles have come back to Montello, hence why you saw him later on in the day speeding because he was in a rush? That would make sense in its own right. Let me know your thoughts there. Anything else? You say about how all hours of the day and night, headlights weren't used, sneaky. How effective is it though when driving out there with no lights on? Won't you just crash? Or is there a certain method to it? I know on Ewu Crew, the original Ewu Crew, they were driving around in the dark with no headlights on, but the guy was wearing night vision goggles inside of his pickup truck, and it was effective. And that's what the military supposedly do out there, such as the Area 51 soldiers and military, okay? Anyway. It's about Chase and Robert. So you're saying Chase and Robert normally hanging out together up to no good. Well, isn't that the same with Don Hatley and James Brenner hanging out together? You seem to have different pairs of friends out there. Interesting. I thought Don, yeah, because of the behaviour, yeah. I saw him with a gun pointed at Robert, yeah. So we'll leave it there for now. Good comment by Weezer. Arguably came a bit late, but is what it is. Badger life. Poor Bob. Confused again. He says I'm in his chat being nice to him, and then I talk behind his back. I don't ever remember being nice to Bob or even being in his chat maybe once. Always called him out on his bull, and now that I told him I've made copies of his live videos calling multiple people criminals, he has the ball, not balls, to tell me I'm two-faced. No, Bob Farrell, I'm for truth and justice. You are here for drama and your ego. Now, the thing is with Bob Farrell, at least when he shows up in my chat or comments, he doesn't cause me problems, but if there are things I am supposedly unaware of, he could say things elsewhere or pass things on to the minions and the whiners. Who knows? If it does happen, it is what it is. With time, one simply becomes a little disappointed, but the process of axonal pruning does take place on an outer experience. And only then when reality will kick in and humans will understand and realise, oh shit. Okay? But that aside, I bow to you. Okay? Slick. The cops should search the washes at least. I believe that's what has happened in the past. Slick. Don't exactly know when it started, but when Candice Cooley has been out there here and there, maybe with Texas Equisearch, Mob Crew Chris, the winter big push before that time in 2022. There was like the odd sheriff or detective on site to watch and view over. And that's happened on numerous occasions. Could more have been done earlier on, possibly when it comes to the wash. Shout out to Slick, a new viewer in recent time, has also been catching up on the Kenny Veach videos. That's good to see. What else have we got? Tom, Corey, you have given us a good description of Chase Venstra. Can you tell us about Robert Aviles? Do you think the truth will come out possibly in the discovery documents? Oh, in capital letters. Oh, no. Okay. Corey says, I would like you to go back to my comment yesterday night when you asked about the 27th versus the 28th. I explained a few things which may help you and others. Thank you for keeping up with me and my window view of a northeast direction. Separation of the 2 days are key so I can move on with other info. Right. I'm not sure, maybe a little. I will do. Okay. Modest man, when you were in Lucin, did you notice anything that has not been talked about? Okay. Drew Smith. Sorry, Warlight Wrath. Sorry, Warlight Wrath, for the negative comments. Props to you for keeping Dylan's name out there. Keep it up, no disrespect. Wow. Okay. So this is the thing, whether it be through misunderstandings, tension, friction, conflict with time, things like this happen. But eventually humans out there do see the light eventually in a non-delusional way and realise their spasmodic behaviour at one point or another. So it's good of Drew to leave this comment here. That's good. I'm still wary of humans out there, but that's for good reason. I will still continue covering the Dylan Rounds case for as long as I can, whether it's with valid points, of course. If at any moment in time there is a strong reason to stop out of respect, then yes, of course, but that has not happened yet, okay? Just like with the Kenny Veach case, that's still ongoing, and when it's breaking news, it will be covered. And when humans out there do really desperately claw and scratch, we need updates, and then eventually I can pop him back in, and you know what, I can deliver at times, but it depends if humans are willing to show their attention rate, and that's not always the case. Whilst humans may say, oh, the Dylan Rounds case, the stats, the numbers are going down, it is what it is, but this is the same exact position as when I was covering the Kenny Veach case. Some of you might act surprised and shocked, but when I was covering the Kenny Veach case very regularly, at one point it was at an all-time low. Statistically speaking, people could not be bothered watching. People lost the stamina. And then when it got to a bit of a head or a checkpoint where I thought, you know what should we look at now? Dylan Rounds case, and that's what I did, and then it went back up. Whether it be people returning back or new people coming on in. And as of right now it's kind of like a Kenny Veach case back then, right? So it's all under control. I've been through this several times now, so I do know what to expect. Under control. We move on, Tom. Bob Farrell. It was very good to see you voice your opinions on Dylan Rounds. It must have felt good to finally speak up. I want to hear more, Bob. Okay. Dylan Rounds. If you're still here with us, happy birthday. I hope that you are healthy and happy. If you have passed on, I know that you're healthy and happy. Right? Kenny, whoever Kenny is, Jim Terry is a douchebag. I mean, maybe that's putting it lightly. I don't know. Just me personally, Jim Terry is a very whiny individual. A person before the Dylan Rounds case I've never heard of before, so not really much significance there. I mean, I'm probably more likely to be walking on the ground and step in something and realise that before I hear of Jim Terry's name. Okay. But, you know, we continue on. We've got Corey. Oh no, we've got a long comment. Let's read that. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure if to... I guess what I'll do is I'll just check where we are with the time after looking through these comments, because if it does drag on a bit, I don't want the videos to be too long because of my storage on my phone, so I might have to do it as a part 2 again, like how I did last time. Hopefully you understand that, okay? I might have to redo the intro of the video just so people are aware of what we're covering here and then what we're covering next, okay? I do think Weezer's comment was very interesting, that it probably should deserve a spot in the title of this video by itself. So there's a bit of consideration that needs to take place, okay? But don't worry, what's not covered here, it will be covered next, okay? It's fine, it's under control. But what does Corey say? Warlike Wrath, Kenny. So I guess Corey is addressing me and someone called Kenny. Good evening. Clear thought process without rage and ego is indeed a rare characteristic these days. Please be aware of people who have come knocking at your door, Wrath, and interjected in the past few days. 3 people to be exact. Since I started sharing a totally different perspective and view than the narrative that has been pushed for the past 15 months. Right, so from the looks of it, Corey is acknowledging that due to her presence in most recent time, it's led to 3 individuals out there on my channel right now, possibly watching, who are troublesome. What I will say, Corey, I'm not quite sure who you are referring to, I'll be honest. As for the people I do see in the chat, at least, I have seen those people before. Have I actually seen any brand new people since Corey has arrived? Not that I'm aware of. People may have returned back. There could most definitely be people dodgy in the background watching and lurking. But as for in the chat, the comment section, not too much stands out to me. We have seen the departure of some long-time viewers in the past and in recent time. It is what it is. Okay, as said, the cancerers and the freeloaders do piss off eventually. It is what it is. But, you know, I will be wary, Corey, but what I won't do is flip everything upside down and have a meltdown like pancakes, okay? I can be wary, I can be cautious, but I can still keep things under control. Reality is, I just do what I have done for the past year or so. Simple as. But let's just carry on with Corey's comment. Where do we go from here? Corey says, what I have said and mentioned in recent time has triggered people who assumed there was nothing else to look at or view. Honestly, Brenner, Chase, Robert, Aaron, Lionel or something, Scott, and a few others who are and have been in prison before and are now should stay there. I am not defending any of them in the least. They are indeed criminals. All of them have serious, long laundry list of bad actions and charges. I am not sharing this info for clicks and likes or for monetary value. That's not my reason or heartfelt focus. I have a job and kids and grandchildren, farm work, yard work, house duties, cooking and other responsibilities besides Utah. Or she says YouTube. Oh, YouTube. There we go. Right, so Corey says, so I'm very aware of why people build platforms and see it as a job or have it as a side job for extra income or for health reasons or for etc. reasons. That is what I meant by I am well aware of this stuff and intentions of platforms. Regardless of any one person's reasons, so be it. I have gained from them and they have from me. Explanation to a chat person who I do not know at all, nor do I care where he posted anything in or on other platforms. That's your personal business, not mine. Same with several other people. Those things should be dealt with in a private message. That is where things get muttered and mixed in with serious researching and who has had personality clashes. Separation of two is imperative when one is talking about life and death. Just a note of attention to all, as you have said, Warlike Ref, Kenny. Who is Kenny? Going back and rereading input and info in comment sections is helpful and shows a different view. Missing a key comment will throw you off balance. Again, please separate the 27th from the 28th. And remember, it only takes 1 hour and about 39 minutes to drive to Snowville, Clinton, Park area, cover, and see able CCTV, how convenient and wise and intelligent Chase's parents live up in that area. Yeah, I'm aware of. Thank you for going through all of this stuff over and over. As you said, hanging in there is important. Mercy, what a long-winded explanation. Good grief, hand cramps. Bloody hell. Okay. You know, the thing is, Corey, yes, I can look back at previous comments of yours, and that's what I will do when I do have time, and I'll do it in the background, Corey. I will look back at your comments. But as said, because of how you've arranged some of your comments back to front and some switches and changes of information, 1 minute you say this, next minute you say that, it's a little bit hard to keep up with. Hopefully you understand that. If at any point in the future you are able to return back to those previous comments and arrange them a little bit better and organise them, it'll help it more easier to understand, okay? The reason why there's misunderstandings in a case or in a case in general on YouTube or further afar, different platforms in real life, is how it was talked about in the first place. If it was worded wrong or it was back to front, people aren't going to get the full true picture, right? There will be mistakes there, unintentional, because of an original unintentional mistake by the other person that created that comment or statement, okay? Anything else? Okay. Smooth fishing. There is ads on this video, so maybe they acting okay. Corey. Separate the 27th and the 28th. That is a key. Well, yeah, I know you can separate the 27th and the 28th because it's 2 different days. Go back to yesterday's comments. You have missed several key points that were added to other people and yours in the comments section. Thank you. So I can explain more. So when you say that, what, you've edited your previous comments or you've added to them? Well, I will check back, as I said. If they haven't been changed or edited, then it's just a matter of poor wording. But we'll see what happens next. Time will tell. Jacqueline, very interesting that Corey gave all information to Justin and not Candice Cooley. Was there a particular reason for this, please? Maybe because you knew the Rounds family more than you knew Candice Cooley. Candice comes across as a controlling person, to put it politely. In interviews, if Justin starts to speak, she butts in and overspeaks the narrative. Poor Justin. Yeah. But, you know, if Justin was annoyed by that and he wanted to get his thoughts across, then you'd have thought he would have taken more action in appearing individually on other interviews, wherever that may be. Like with the Texas Equisearch, the Duty Run interview, Justin did that by himself, but he's not really done anything else ever since. So if he wanted to have the voice and not be controlled by Candice Cooley or outspoken, then you thought he would have done a separate interview, right? And I don't mean a private phone call in the background, which is promised to be private and then released later. That's a completely different scenario, okay? Anything else? Corey gives all information to Justin. Maybe because Corey feels Justin can take it better, more control. Candice Cooley could blab about it or react badly. Who knows? Linda, the other Linda. Shout out to this Linda. What I don't understand is why would Dylan call his grandma just to say, hi, grandma, gotta go, I have to park the truck before it rains. Why would he even call her? Doesn't make sense. In the beginning, it was said she called him, would make sense. Okay, fair enough. So at least from what Candice Cooley has said, and to an extent, there must be some truth because it's not that out of the ordinary. Dylan Rounds was, it was normal for Dylan to do that. Calling up, giving brief, random, on-the-spot updates, whether it be the weather, whether it be the farm work, what he's getting up to, what's happening next. Small scale, big scale, he was passionate and he wanted to share it with his family. So on the day of parking the grain truck in the grain shed, it would have been no different, right? And probably just providing an update, what's happening here and what he'll be doing later, just to communicate with people. I guess there's no harm in that. And if he's done it in the past, which has been told by Candice Cooley, it's a regular occurrence. Now, there could be some additions to it, but maybe because Dylan Rounds was going to park the grain truck in the grain shed, and then after that, over the weekend, he was going to go elsewhere, maybe visit family because there was nothing more to do. He's completed his previous task or his own work as much as he can do, and with the current rain or the upcoming rain, what else could he do? Candice Cooley would say, and Justin agreed, that he would go around in a triangular effect and the times when he couldn't farm, he would be visiting family or friends, etc. So maybe he might have been visiting at some point, if he's had the chance, the grandparents, visiting them, and maybe that call was just letting him know what he's getting up to and what will happen next. So they were informed about his next move. You never know, right? Anything else? Not really. Linda's saying the parents should have known to just leave the truck, okay, and stay out the trailer. Should have just left it alone. I think to an extent, on the spot when it happens, you're not expecting that type of outcome. You panic, you don't think at the time. Heat of the moment, mistakes can be made. I think if the police had a stronger presence and took it more serious, the likes of taking in the key evidence and the trucks and not letting the family get a hold of it, yeah, that could have been controlled better. Just an unfortunate situation overall. Anything else? Wish we could get a hold of Taylor Henry from TV. He would be able to tell you what happened and who did it. Taylor, if you're watching this, please help with the case. Who is Taylor Henry? I've never heard of that person before. Right. So it looks like we've come to the end of all these comments. Some interesting ones by Weezer, most definitely. Right, so what we've transitioned on to now, after taking in consideration the time scale, which is still okay, we're now looking back at the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, which is all publicly viewable due to Dylan Rounds' birthday occurring yesterday, depending what time zone you're in. Obviously, people have celebrated it and reflected back on Dylan, including family members. We just take a look here to see what they've got to say and what other people share with their thoughts, their prayers, memories of Dylan Rounds, see if it fills in any grey patches, see if there's any key questions asked, and see what Candice Cooley has to say in most recent time due to that long period of silence. Okay? First one here by Danielle Cooley, saying, Dylan, I remember the day, exact time, and where we were when your mom told me she was pregnant with you. I remember the joy on your dad's face when I told him congratulations and how I could wait to be an aunt. I remember the day the ultrasound told them they were having a girl. You fooled them. I remember the minute I got the call, your mum was in labour, and I remember every second of the first time I held you, and many more after that. I remember our Wednesday mornings as I would watch you while your parents worked and we watched the Wiggles. I remember you pushing me out the snow when I got stuck in your driveway. I remember all the Auntie D's, all the laughs, cries, hugs, holidays, salmon fishing trips, and much more. Today you turned 21 and I wish nothing more than to be celebrating it with you by having a Pepsi or a beer of your choice. I miss you, kid. I wish you a very happy birthday. You made me an aunt for the very first time and I'll miss and love you forever. There we go. Done rounds. Quick look at the comments. Just very brief, okay? Anything that stands out. I don't know Dylan personally, but I think of him. Okay. People relating there. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Basically, I'm just looking out for comments, key questions which might stick out, okay? As I said, this is all publicly viewable. It is where it is. Here we go. Happy birthday. Still praying, keeping my faith until you are found. Yep. In the heart waiting. Yep. Yep. He should still be here with his family. Yep. Right, okay. There we go. That's that one completed. Just click that off. There we go. Let that load. Okay. We got the next one. There we go. So the photo down below is of Dylan Rounds at a younger age or so. So we don't need to look at that just to avoid any issues there. Okay. Denise Cooley, hey buddy, as I sit here on the eve of your 21st birthday, I take comfort in the incredible joy that you and all your grandkids have brought into our lives. We are so thankful for the strong foundations of the family and friends who have wrapped their protective wings around us. Not a day goes by that I don't look to the west, hoping that this day you find your way home to us all. It was just yesterday that you made your unexpected entrance into this world. It was just yesterday that I rocked you up to sleep, and it was just yesterday that you're learning to walk. It was just yesterday that you started kindergarten. It was just yesterday that you learned to ride a bike. It was just yesterday that you learned to drive a tractor. It was just yesterday that we pulled on the beach in San Francisco. It was just yesterday that you pulled into the driveway all excited to show me your Ford Highway that you just bought. It was just yesterday that you FaceTimed me. Right, so it's all to do with looking back on the past, okay, which does make sense, understandable there. Close that tab down. What's this one? Okay. Hopefully the video doesn't play. So here we go. These are the ones by Candice Cooley. Is everyone ready? Candice Cooley says, I grew up watching Grandpa drive his truck, then Uncle Bob, and then Dylan. Dylan loved this truck. When he was able to purchase it, he was so excited. I wish every day he'd pull in the driveway with his camper hooked up, ready to go to his next job, just like Grandpa did. Right, okay, so that kind of explains a bit behind how Dylan got around. And with the... Do you know what? That kind of makes sense as well, okay? Dylan having a camper which he stayed in, not all the time, but if he's getting about, okay, could explain to why maybe at a point when we looked on Google Earth, it didn't show his trailer because he was elsewhere doing farm work for somebody else and he had to move the trailer because it was some distance away and he stayed in that trailer. Yeah, interesting. Video there, we won't play it because I don't want to copyright or any. Okay, comment-wise, have a quick look here. Daniel Kelly, do you remember fighting for the spot to ride in the truck from sharing job to sharing job and the black licorice? I still love black licorice. I remember when Dylan bought this truck, he was so excited and told me how he wanted to fix it up some, but leave it still the same. Sure miss him and I too wish would pull it in your driveway as well. He had a big enough sleeper to throw us all in, but was always full of tools. It was his best when we got to go. Glad it stayed in the family, still runs strong. This truck, what they're talking about, was it the truck that was at the grain shed property at the time of Dylan's disappearance, or not? And does anyone know which truck it is? I think there might be a photo or an example photo on another post, which we'll look at shortly, okay? Danielle, and his disc sat in the seat, so that was off limits. But now that I'm an adult, I understand why. Only one of us. I need to find my photo of Dylan standing next to the truck the day he picked it up. He loved the truck. I tried to find it. Okay. Yes, the fight was real. Oh man, Grandpa always had the best black licorice and jelly beans. Black licorice today just doesn't have the same flavour. What I would do to have Grandpa's sweets. Okay. Thank you for sharing this. Yep. Great memories. Yep. I wish he could just pull in your driveway too. Yep. Great video. Memories. Yep. They're so neat. They were sheep farmers. You don't. Okay. Okay, that's about old personal stories. Yeah. Right. Okay, there we go. So much work Dylan did, and that's why that truck was so important. Okay. Close that one down. There we go. Dylan pulled all kinds of stuff with that truck. Right, so the truck, what we see on screen, is the photo of that truck of Dylan's own truck, or is it an example photo? Could well be. It looks like an old photo. That what we see there. That Dylan's truck, Candice Cooley found a photo of it, and that's Dylan's trailer on the back. Is that the same trailer Dylan had at the time he went missing and taken out? I'm not too sure. But yeah, I mean, has anyone seen this truck before at the grain shed property before it was taken away? Was this truck on camera, such as the flyby over when Heavy D went there, which was the 8th of June or something, 2022? Let me know in the comments. Some more photos there. Carrying hay. And then the one on the right next to a red tractor, which does look like the one Dylan had. So yeah, maybe it is the one. Okay, interesting. Comments, quickly look at them. Great eye for photography and angles. Oh, so Dylan took them. Oh, I see. I guess he would take him if he's proud of what he's got. I understand. Been thinking of him. Press. There we go. There's one comment at least. Robert. Is anyone farming his land? Tina. There's nobody else who has the passion for it. Brenner needs to be gone and not breathe anymore either, because he thinks he can just end a life and he acts nice to family like he is helping them as cold-blooded human. Should never see daylight again. I don't think Brenner has helped the family. Has he? Robert, I was just wondering because I would have to talk to my wife, but I think the best tribute would be for someone to farm his land so that his dream of it comes true and doesn't die. Fair enough. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, who will take the work upon themselves as Dylan did? That's the point. Dylan was coached by Grandpa and Dad, and nobody has that passion that Dylan had. That's the part that makes me so angry, is who else would actually do that and make that much work to succeed, and then life gets taken away. Who knows if people would even trust that area after that? I don't know, but that would be cool in his honour. Right, so you're saying there's a possible lack of trust and safety within the area of Lucerne, despite people being taken away from there, including the likes of Brenner. Spooky. Cutler, wow. I think we saw Cutler in the past. Their comments were a bit ambiguous. Tina saying, I'm so thankful that you're sharing these good memories. Yes, Dylan will come home regardless of time, but his memories just shows how driven and pumped he was. Regardless what it took, I'm not trying to discredit him. Parents, okay. What's this? And I'm not trying to discredit any parents, but how many kids his age have such a drive to work? It's almost impossible to find young kids. And the other thing is where people will say people these days, it's not quite the same work ethic, and that's probably true for most part of it. But there are certain moments in times where one doesn't have to work harder, just simply work and think smarter. Okay? Craig, exactly, he was an amazing kid. Yep. What's this? Craig, you said it best. I'm not discrediting others. Okay, well, what's this? Oh, it's just the official page. I wonder what was being posted there. That's why I'm so angry at the... Okay. So Tina says, that's why I'm so angry at the LE the first day and before. Had they done their job and arrest Brenner at the time on his warrant over 1 year ago, what the hell is he out there for? And I guarantee that the cops knew day one his history, and then he's acts irritated by all the people there as if it was his property, yet he shouldn't have been there to start off with. Day one, the cops practically hugged moron because everyone is scared of him. Like, what is up with that? I won't let go of what Candice Cooley said. Everything was right there around us. The answers were all under their nose, so to speak. I heard Candice say that. My blood just boiled, and it has never stopped, and I still believe my big mouth may put me in jail, but I don't care. What? Care about this than my FB, and I'm shocked I still haven't found myself in Facebook jail. Bring it on. They pretty much left it off day one because of his age. Kids wander away and just leave their dreams behind. Give your heads a shake, for goodness sakes. Had it been a child of one of those officers, what would they do? Would they have solved it? All you coward cops, hang up your badges so children's safety isn't their priority. I have a hard time controlling myself. Right. A lot going on there. And why is there a lot of spelling mistakes online? I know not everyone can spell at the same levels, but online it should be easier because you got the autocorrect. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Craig, I know what you mean. Cops have to be forced to do their job a lot of the times, and more cases than not, they cause more problems than they solve. We need to have a public oversight system to hold cops and politicians accountable for their mess-ups. Yep. Any more comments? Talented elephants. Oh, what's this? I lost my birth mum and godmother. My godmother got trampled over by elephants. Oh. Kurt, but a different type of Kurt. Last thing, I and Dylan hauled with Dylan's cab overhooked to my lowboy was a harrow rake he bought from Kelly War in Grouse Creek, Utah. Grouse Creek. He tried to pull it with the old Macy, but a couple of tyres blew only a mile or two down the road, so he parked it and went back the next day with his truck and my lowboy trailer to haul it. The Wars left a case loader where it was parked to load it with. That was to 20th of May, and the Mexican kid grandpa brought down... Who's the Mexican kid grandpa? Brought down to help fix the main line. Fix the main line, was there with us. I said to Dylan, why not have him drive the Macy back to the farm? Dylan said, oh, it's low on fuel, we'll come get it another day. Then I, Dylan, and my daughter talked Friday morning in Montello, front of Saddle Sore Bar. When asked why he was here, answer is to deliver a part to Dan Iverson's to get Dan's pivot going again. Dylan had the part on hand at his farm 35 miles away. He only came to bring the part for Dan. He said, I should be drilling my seed, so I need to get back at it. I'll be going all night. Can you pick me up in the morning to get my ass back to my pickup? After getting the seed undercover in the shop, it's supposed to rain. I said, sure, give me a call. Sadly, never got that call. Grandma Karen got the call. Why not sure? Only wish I knew the answers to that question to that day. Dylan, I miss you. What the hell happened to you, dude? Wait. Everybody watching right now, is this supposed to be somebody else? Kurt Woodsman. Kurt Woodsman with a profile picture of Asian females. Is this some kind of secret account as to Kurt Wadsworth? As with conspiracies in the past with Kurt Wadsworth and transporting Filipinos in. I know it's a bit random, this, but what's mentioned here is a person called Kurt Woodsman who was in the presence of Dylan Rounds just before Dylan went missing. Is there anyone watching right now that's heard of a Kurt Woodsman ever before? Does anyone know who this person is? When I was reading this comment, I wasn't really following along too much until it said about brought down to the main line and fixed it. And then it said, I said to Dylan, why not have him drive the Macy back to the farm? Dylan said, oh, it's low on fuel, we'll come back the other day. Then Dylan, daughter, taught Friday morning in Montello, front of Saddle Sore Bar. Friday morning. So Kurt, Dylan, and his daughter... Wait. When Kurt Woodsman says, Dylan and my daughter, is he talking about Taylina? Is this a secret Kurt Wadsworth account, but he's changed his username because he's on the run at the moment by the police? Have I just picked up on something which no one else has? Or is this a completely different person? Because it just seems a bit coincidental, if I'll be honest with you. A bit weird. But this is talking about the 27th of May. 27th of May 2020. Friday morning, Montello, Saddle Sore Bar, Dylan Rounds, Kurt Woodsman, whoever that is, and daughter. When asked why he was here, answer is to deliver a part to Dan Iverson's to get Dan's pivot going again. So on Friday, the reason why Dylan was in Montello was to go to Dan's pivot and deliver some parts to fix it. Dylan had the part on hand at his farm, 35 miles away. He only came to bring the part for Dan. He said, I should be drilling my seed, so I need to get back to my own farm. I'll be going all night. Can you pick me up in the morning to get my ass back to my pickup after getting the seed undercover in the shop? It's supposed to rain. I said, sure, give me a call. What the hell is this on about? For now, hold on. I'm going to screenshot that just in case we need to return back to it in the future. It could be a load of BS, this, or it could be a true story, but I've never heard of this person and the way it was worded this way. Interesting. Right, that's it there. Is this the last one? Here we go. This is the last one. Stephanie, have y'all found anything on Dylan this summer? Are y'all getting closer to the ground? So where y'all think Dylan might be? I cannot find anything about Dylan's remains or Dylan being found anywhere, and I've been following this since day one. Please let me know. Candice Cooley responds and says, you cannot find anything because we have not found anything. We have multiple organised, specialised searches and will never quit. But have those organised, specialised searches taken place recently or not? Keep faith. Okay. I don't know how this is true, but I read Brenner had been arrested in connection. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Well, he wasn't arrested on connection. It was separate crimes, but ever since there's been like evidence which suggests Brenner is responsible. And on March 3rd, he was then charged with the murder and desecration of Dylan Rounds. Charged. Okay? That happened later. So the original charges which led to Brenner being taken in by the police and sent to Weber County Jail were away from the case of Dylan. It was separate charges. But then 3rd of March 2023, if I didn't say that correctly before, apologise. That's when he was officially charged with the murder and desecration of Dylan. That's it for the comments. Okay, well, there we go. So I'm not too sure if I did come across the odd dodgy comment in today's video, but if there was anything that I read over which made you double think or pick up on something very odd or strange, if you noticed any of that, list it down below. Share your thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, all welcome, okay? I think we will leave it there for now. I think the video was of a suitable length. Hopefully you enjoyed it and maybe you learned something new. Just let me know your thoughts down below. Feel free to like, share the video, and try and keep the case alive and to spread awareness on the Dylan Rounds case. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.